What was the butterfly designed to do? Well, that was designed to fly, of course, but the caterpillar wasn't. It was designed to drink the nectar from the flowers, but at the same time fertilize the flowers. It was designed to mate, and it was designed to be able to migrate from one country to the other, several thousand miles in some cases. So it's designed for specific things. The caterpillar has one thing to do, to grow, eat and grow. And the butterfly has several things to do: eat, grow, fertilize, and mate.
Thousands of years ago, Scripture declared what was common knowledge to everyone. For example, in the book of Job, chapter 12, we read, "But now ask the beasts, and they will teach you, and the birds of the air, and they will tell you. Or speak to the earth, and it will teach you, and the fish of the sea will explain to you. Who among all these does not know that the hand of the Lord has done this?" If we examine the evidence that we see, the various things that have been created, it is very clear from the Scriptures that the evidence points to the reality that there is a Creator who has made all things.
Our great Creator has provided us with countless examples of His infinite wisdom. The functionality and ingenuity of God's creatures surpass our understanding and are cause for unending thanksgiving and worship.
While all creation reflects aspects of God's character, man alone was created in God's image. Man has physical distinctions. His brain is a masterpiece of complexity. His hands are able to accomplish precise work. His posture is upright. Yet, it is man's spiritual nature that is especially unique. Scripture explains that God is spirit. And even though mankind has fallen into sin, man's spiritual nature still retains a glimmer of the Creator's character. For example, man has a free will. Man knows the difference between good and evil. And only mankind has produced great scientists, composers, prophets, and poets.
Mankind has been engineered with brilliant physical traits. For example, the human eye moves about 100,000 times each day with automatic focusing and can handle 1.5 million simultaneous messages. The eye is also self-cleaning with built-in wipers and cleaning fluid, and the eye even has the amazing ability to assemble and heal itself. Furthermore, God has designed the human eye to distinguish millions of colors, and his mind to appreciate the rich spectrum of beauty seen throughout creation.
Most people don't realize this, but the eye is part of the brain. It's an extension, a bud in the embryo that buds off the brain, and there's a little window that develops in the skin called the cornea of the eye. Isn't that great? The eyeball is located precisely where a clear window develops in the skin, so we may look through. It's sensitive to light over a range of about 10 billion to 1. That is from the brightest thing we can see, maybe a sun-drenched snowscape, down to as little as a single photon of light. That's our smallest unit of light. And of course, everywhere you look, the focus is automatic. And the two eyes look at the same spot wherever we look. It's like somebody with a pair of 6 guns that can fire the guns, and everywhere they shoot, the 2 bullets make 1 hole. Instantly, everywhere. And that's what our eyes are doing. Everywhere we look, they converge in the same point. If they were off by just a degree or so, you'd see double. Everywhere I look, I see overwhelming evidence of the handiwork of God. And surely, when man denies that, he's without excuse, just as Romans chapter 1, verse 20 tells us.
Even more mind-boggling, the Lord has designed all man's senses to be intimately integrated. When we see food, our stomachs may growl and our mouths salivate. Upon hearing the voice of an old friend, our hearts may leap for joy. And one smell of Grandma's cooking can invoke memories from years past. However, the wonder of our physical sophistication pales in comparison to our spiritual nature. Man is self-conscious and able to contemplate himself. Man was created a rational being, endowed with the faculty of reason and the ability to learn. Man was given the capacity to retain past experiences, and his memory makes it possible for him to reflect on the goodness of God.
According to the Genesis record, man was made in the image of God. That means he had attributes, abilities, capacities that God had given him. When we read the Genesis 4 record, which is after the fall, we still see these abilities and capacities. For example, man could build cities. He could make and play musical instruments. He understood metallurgy. He understood agriculture. He could write poetry and literature. As well, man was created with a spiritual component. Man had a free will to choose, had a conscience. So we see God created man unique from the rest of the creation.
There are many differences between mankind and animals. One verse that comes to mind is over in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 11. It's the verse that says, we are special, that God has put eternity in our hearts. That is, we have a concept of history of the past and present and future. This is different from animals that live for today. We are a special creation.
Another wonderful gift of the Creator to man is emotion. It gives him color and richness, feeling, and the capacity for joy and laughter. Only man, of all creatures on earth, can appreciate an inspiring symphony or rejoice in the beauty of a sunset. And man alone is a free moral agent, responsible to God and to society. The only explanation to account for morality in man is the fact revealed in the Scriptures, namely, that man was created in the image of God, and therefore made, like God, a moral being.
In addition to being almighty and all-wise, the Bible states that God is completely holy. He always does what is right. God cannot lie, he cannot sin, and he is always faithful and true. How can we know that God is just? Scripture explains that the Lord has written his law on every heart. The Creator's holy nature is revealed to every man through conscience. Conscience is our God-given knowledge of right and wrong. Therefore, man knows that his Creator is both the moral lawgiver and the judge.
Do you have a conscience?
I believe I do have a conscience.
Do you believe that everyone has a conscience?
Absolutely.
But do you have a conscience?
Yes.
Where did it come from?
I don't know.
The Bible makes it very clear that the knowledge of God is written on our hearts, even that knowledge of right and wrong.
Have you ever told a lie?
Yes.
All right, what does that make you?
A liar.
Liar, right? Have you ever stolen anything?
Yes.
What does that make you?
A thief.
Thief.
Just supposing you're in a shop, in a store someplace, and there's something that you really need, and it's just sitting there and nobody's around watching it. You say to yourself, I haven't brought my wallet, forgot that, nobody looking, in the pocket. And it goes in, you walk out, nobody challenges you, and you got away with it. Inside, what are you thinking? At night, when you go to bed, what are you thinking? And I think anybody knows fully well that the thoughts will go round in the head, I stole that. This is a conscience.
Have you always obeyed your God-given conscience?
No.
Have you ever used your Creator's name, God who gave you taste buds and eyesight and every good gift, ever used his name as a curse word?
Yeah. I have.
Jesus said, you've heard it said you should not commit adultery, but I say to you, if you look at a girl lustfully, you commit adultery in your heart.
Have you ever looked at a girl lustfully?
Yeah.
Okay, so you broke that commandment, right?
Yeah.
God says he has written his law in every human conscience. So they are all without excuse. Everyone knows that he's a sinner. Everyone knows he's broken God's laws. Everyone knows he hasn't done right.
We have the ability to know right and wrong. If we have the ability to know what is good, then God also must know. He must be the ultimate
creator.
revelation of morality, of
Yeah.
what's right, of what's good.
Because how would we know what was right or wrong?
Yeah, I know,
It's
that's
him.
amazing.
The fact that every man knows right from wrong, what does that tell us about God's character and nature?
That he's just.
If God were to judge based on the holy standard, would you be guilty or innocent?
Guilty.
So if you were guilty as a blaspheming, lying thief, on the day of judgment, will God send you to heaven or hell based on the Ten Commandments?